शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरमासनमात्मनः नात्युच्छ्रितं नातिनीचं चैलाजिनकुशोत्तरम्. Bhagavad Gita 6.11. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya. This chapter on Ashtanga Yoga, 6th chapter. Krishna is now describing the process by which one practices Ashtanga Yoga, especially in the renounced stage. So prior to this, he has talked about how initially one should stay in the world and learn mind control. At that time, work is the means of progress. Once the mind is controlled, then the shama, the controlled mind coupled with the peaceful mind, coupled with inner exploration, inner absorption, inner meditation is the means of progress. So now for that progress, one does outer renunciation, and that is being talked about now. Shuchau deshe. Shuchi means clean, pure, in a pure place. Pratishtapya. So the yogi goes to a pure place. Often yogis go to places like the Himalayas or Haridwar or Vrindavan. And pratishtapya, establishing. Sthiram asanam atmanaha, and is make an asan for oneself. Natyuchritam nati nicham chailajina kushottaram. Nati uchritam, it should not be too tall, too high up. Nati nicham, not too low. Chailajina kushottaram. Chailaji, on the asana, one puts deer skin, and then kushottaram, one hand uses kusha grass, which points uttar. So now the point here is that although Ashtanga Yoga is an internal process wherein one is trying to go deep within to discover the inner reality, ultimately to discover the super soul. But even such an inner discovery requires the conducive externals. So that's why if one is in a city or in a crowded, urban, noisy place, then one may be able to practice yoga for the sake of improving one's health or for maybe getting some peace of mind. But that kind of practice of yoga will not take one deep within. If one wants to practice serious yoga for the deep inner journey and inner discovery, then one needs conducive externals. And here Krishna is describing several of the external factors which are conducive. So he says that Shuchau deshe pratisthapya. So let's see what all he has said over here. Shuchau, first is a pure place. Sthiramasanam, a steady seat. Now, if the ground is slippery or if the ground is uneven, then one will be uncomfortable while sitting. And if there is external discomfort, then one cannot focus inwards. And then he says natyuchritam nati nicham. So the idea is, if it's too high up, ati ucham or ati nicham. If it is too high up, then one may have a perspective, one may have the opportunity for seeing various things. What is moving there, who is there, what is happening where. And instead of soul seeing by looking inwards, one may get caught in sightseeing, in looking outwards. So, and if it is too low, then all the all the insects and wildlife and other things which are there slithering along on the ground, they may just come onto the yogi, and the yogi may just have to endure, overcome the distractions or push them away or whatever, and in that way, basically, the focus will get lost. And then, of course, there are some preventive measures to prevent such distraction from wildlife. So it is said that Chailajina Kushottaram. So using use of a deer skin serves the purpose that deer skin is said to drive away many kinds of insects and other kinds of say reptiles or whatever might be crawling along in the ground in the forest, including even snakes on some occasions. So the jungle, although in some cases might seem to be like a very idyllic place for meditation because there is no agitating human presence, but actually the jungle can be a hostile place also. So generally this sort of yogis, they don't exactly meditate in the jungle. In the jungle they create hermitages for themselves, which are like relatively safe sanctuaries within the wilderness of the forest, and there they make their asanas. So generally use the word the law of the jungle, where there is savage competition, even cutthroat competition. That's what we say about the jungle. The yogis, when they go to jungle, it is not exactly that they stay in the middle of a jungle. They stay in hermitages which are created in the jungle. So hermitages are relatively safe zones, but they do not have the congestion or the many distractions and the materialism that is often there in the cities. And in this way, by staying in such places, the yogis are able to focus on their inner journey. So the purpose of getting an appropriate outer situation is to focus on the inner journey, taking one's consciousness inwards towards ultimately the discovery of the super soul within. Now, there are two imbalanced attitudes in the relationship of the externals with the internals. One attitude is that the externals are considered all important, and one obsesses too much on getting the externals right, and thinks that if I don't get the externals right, I will not be able to do the internals right. And worse still, one thinks that if I have got the externals right, then automatically the internals will be right, and I don't have to strive for the internals at all. So that is one extreme, where one obsesses too much on the externals, and the other extreme is that one thinks that the internals alone are important and the externals don't matter at all. And the problem with this reasoning is that actually our externals do affect our internals. A student who lies down and tries to study, especially when one is tired, the student will easily go to sleep. So the seriousness and sharpness that is required for study, that is rarely possible when one is in a relaxed position conducive for sleep, that is resting, lying down. So of course there can be exceptions, but the exceptions are exceptions. They are not the standards. And in general, the externals do affect our internals. So the balanced attitude is neither to give so much importance to the externals that one forgets the internals, or to so trivialize the externals as to completely neglect them, and then the attempt to focus on the internals often remains illusory or self-congratulatory, where one thinks that I am so advanced that I don't need the externals for seeking the internals, but one does not actually make much internal progress. So, because one is not having a conducive external environment to stimulate and support the inner journey. So, in today's times, one needs a proper place for, if somebody is practicing yoga, one needs a proper place, and the specifics like say Chaila, Jin, Pushottar may not be required if one is in a home where there is not the possibility of insects and reptiles or whatever. So specifics may vary, but the principle remains the same, that one has to withdraw from the outer world with its materialism, with its distractions, with its passion, and focus on the inner world so that one can make the inner discovery. That is the essence of yoga. Thank you.